people? We are back. Act 2 the podcast, episode 74. We are back. How y'all doing? It's your boy, International Walk.
It's your girl, Tosh, the co-hostess with the hostess.
We are back for another episode of Act 2 the podcast. How y'all doing out there? We chilling? Y'all chilling? About to take a sip of coffee, so
Yes.
just relax for a minute.
Maybe this may be our vibe for the show. Like, can we always have coffee? We are coffee drinkers. Do y'all drink coffee? I like tea too, but we are big coffee drinkers.
I don't like vibes, so we won't have
Well,
vibes.
what did you say? Our ambiance?
Yeah, ambiance is cool, but we don't
Not
do
a vibe. So this will be our ambiance.
Yeah, fuck a vibe. Act 2 the podcast, episode 74. We are back. Let's get right to it. Oh, you guys can catch us on all these different kinds of platforms, right? Like Breaker, TikTok, Radio Public, Anchor, Google Podcasts, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and of course, don't ever forget to go to the website. This is where you can see all the content at, is if you go to the website, then you probably don't even have to go to those platforms because all that stuff is right there that you need to see. Okay?
And the website is
act2thepodcast.com.
Right.
I thought I said that.
No, you said don't forget to go.
act2thepodcast.com.
Yes.
act2thepodcast.com. act2thepodcast.com.
act2thepodcast.com.
How are you?
I'm doing good today. Mentally, I'm an 8. I'll say
8.
I'm an 8. I feel much better. Just in a better mental space. I have an amazing husband who is such a great support system. He fusses sometimes because he says that I'm spoiled, but at the same time, he truly, and this is not about any type of materialistic stuff at all, but he's just always there in any way that I need him. And material stuff too, he makes it happen if I, tell him I want something or need something. But the emotional part for me, he tips the scale. So you may know him, my husband.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So yeah,
it's good to hear.
I'm an 8. I'm not allowing. I'm protecting my space, and I feel good. Finances are a 10, but can I make a proposal? Like, I know people say some people in the world just having a hard time. Like we ain't no financial experts to be telling people what to do with their money, but I don't want to make people feel any kind of way. So maybe, at some point on another episode, we can share some tips. We'll do our research because no tips. Okay, fine. But yeah, finances are a 10, and I pray that, with all the things going on in the world, that we continue to be blessed, and that others too who may be struggling find
y'all would have to
way.
tell us if y'all want tips from us for about finances, because we don't know everything, and we're not in the business of telling people what to do. Yeah, so you would have to tell us. You want to hear
check myself.
Our point about money. You do what you want to do with your money.
Well, I said do some research, not just our tips. Like, hey, we're the financial gurus. Nah. Absolutely not. But, I just know people. I read something. Well, I'll share it later. Go ahead.
Work
is good. Work is just a lot. And, work is a lot, but it's not bad. I'll say it's an 8. It's a pain in the behind 8.
Physicality?
Physically, I feel good. Got a little womanly thing going on. And, ladies, I'm not one of those women who suffered from, like, cramps growing up. Like, I probably can count on not even 2 whole hands how many times in my life that I've had cramps. I had cramps, like, sleeping last night.
Stop touching my leg.
I'm sorry. I had cramps sleeping last night, and, it didn't feel good at all. So, I feel better today. And this coffee is doing it for me because I get that headache. So, but I'm an 8.
Cool.
How are you?
I'm good.
How are you?
I'm okay.
Okay.
I ain't the greatest, but I'm okay.
All right. What's your mental like?
Mental, I'm an 8.
That's not bad though. That's good. I'm happy to hear that you're not.
Because happiness is a choice.
Okay.
So I'm an 8.
What's your finances like?
Finances is a nueve.
Okay. Well, that's not bad. Usually you take a side, but
oh no, I don't know. That's just banter. I mean, not.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it's hyperbole.
What's work like?
Work is. I got another job where I'm at.
Oh man,
Looks like
the
I'm gonna be there.
fireplace.
Yeah, looks like I'm gonna be there till September.
Woo.
Um,
That means you gotta get up at 3:30 until September. Lord help us.
But you know, it is what it is. I have a job, make decent money, so I'm happy. Physicality, I feel great. I want to get on my bike and ride. That's what I want to do. So I'm just waiting for the weekend to come here for us to have some downtime and get out and ride.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what I really want to do.
I'm looking forward to it. Like, I have not been on a bike since we went to Miami in 2005-ish, and I fell on top of a car. That was the last time I've been on a bike.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward.
She was banned for a long time.
I'm looking forward to it. I got a helmet. I didn't get knee pads or elbow pads, but I've been thinking about it because
you think you might fall?
You just never, you never know, and I just want to be protected. And I feel like I don't want to be hot and wear like pants and long sleeves, but at the same time, if I fall and my skin is exposed, like
you get a scuff. It's your turn. Everybody get a scuff on their knee.
I don't want like no marks and stuff on my body, but
I wouldn't want you to fall and knock your front teeth or some shit like that out.
Jesus Christ,
or like
no.
scuff your nose and you got a scab on your nose.
Oh
and
my
forehead for like a couple of
God.
weeks.
I'm not you. That's like flipping over the bike. I'm not thinking.
But I mean, you might be like riding real fast and be like, hit the back brakes and hit the front.
Get that
brakes.
juju out of here. I'm not gonna fall. I'm
Okay.
gonna do great. We're gonna have a great time. It's gonna be relaxing. You know, I imagine it being like
We're gonna have some video or some bike riding. Just heart on there. So it's coming.
and we'll see.
It's coming.
We'll see. I'm excited, but
Right.
I'm nervous, but I'm excited. What's up? What's up? What's up? What you
Wows
got?
and woes.
My wow for this week, my girls had their dance recital and I was an emotional wreck a little bit. Like, I don't know. Well, I know it may be because it was leading up to this time of month, but I've been to this is number 7 recital for though, or maybe even more than that. But
We had like 10.
Okay, yes, 10. And I was crying, like, not like loud, but just proud of them. Like,
Well, how do you cry at fucking a dance recital with little girls and you don't even cry about us?
I do cry.
You do not. You cry when you fucking sad or angry.
Babe, stop. Okay, I do cry at like really
Bullshit.
happy things sometimes, but more than
It's like getting
anything,
blood from a stone.
oh my God. He used to complain that I was so emotional, and now he says, like, I turned into a stone. Nevertheless, I was a little emotional just seeing my girls and their maturation, not just in dance, but just their personalities. And, kids are amazing. And it not to, like, damper the thought about kids, but just the thought about people hurting kids and stuff. It's like, they can be a pain in the behind, but they're so much better than adults. So that was the wow, just seeing them be beautiful and do their thing.
Woes, if any?
Hearing about the craziness, the continued violence in the city, is just crazy, but I won't, belabor that because I know we talk about gun violence so much, and I'm sure you may have some insight into that, but it's just, that to hearing about things going on in the city that we grew up in and love and enjoy, that's
Definitely.
just like a want. Yeah.
What
about you?
Wows and woes. My wow is that I made it another week. Was a little bummed earlier in the week, and just it's Wednesday. It's not like shit. It's a day, and it's not like it's the end of the week, but I just feel better every day. So and I hate feeling bummed out, but was bummed out Monday, bummed out a little bit yesterday. Feel better today. Probably feel better tomorrow. Hopefully,
You still dating?
well, whatever.
You're bummed out earlier in the week.
Bummed out earlier in the week. Bummed out in the middle of the week a little bit. Hopefully, be better at the end of the week.
Yeah, that's good to hear. It's not good to hear that you were bummed out, but good to hear that you are feeling better.
This is one of your one of the few topics that you sent me for us to talk about, and one of them was privacy within your kids.
Well, wait, you didn't say what was your well. Was that your well, the fact of you being bummed out?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
I thought I was tying them in together like on some slick stuff.
Yeah.
I guess you pulled my pants down.
You slipped that in there, but okay. But I am happy that you're feeling better. Privacy and kids. These damn kids don't have no privacy.
So privacy within kids. Is there privacy with kids? Do you think there should be? First question.
I think when you talk about privacy, you have to think to what extent. Like,
so I'm talking about, do you have a problem with closed doors if you had children? Do you have a problem with kids having a phone at a certain age? Do you have a problem with, do you have to meet every parent that your friend has? Like those, along those kinds of lines of privacy. Because privacy is a real thing.
right.
Let's not act like the way we grew up was the right way. And because of the times now, kids, because of the times now, kids obviously got to have phones and stuff like that because the parents want to be in touch with them. You don't want them to be without a phone and you can't get in touch with them. But there is a thing called privacy, and you can breach it with a child. So that's what I'm saying. So along those lines, do you believe in privacy with kids?
Yes and no. So I will say, like, in terms of being in the home, while closing your door may or may not be acceptable, I don't necessarily see a problem with that depending on the circumstance. You can't like lock the door where I don't have entry into it. So there's privacy in the sense of, I think children, especially like we think about our kids, that five kids, siblings, ranging the gamut from, a little older than toddlers to almost an adult. You may want to shut your door so you don't have, you can have some you time. But there should be an expectation that I could breach the door at any time, meaning like I don't have to knock on your door, or I don't have to, ask if I could come in like that.
But isn't that privacy also, just to say like you don't have to ask to come in, and walk in? That's also giving respect and privacy also. If you're going to do the privacy thing, if you're going to allow the door to be shut, then what's wrong? And just playing devil's advocate, what's wrong with saying and then going in? It's not like you're giving your kid 10 seconds to, like you're asking, is it okay if I come in? You're just and walking in. But if you're going to do the privacy thing, then why not?
Well, that's why I said I don't think that's necessarily allowing them to shut their doors. Just sort of a sense of having their own personal space,
right? Not
necessarily having a private space. But no, I don't feel like I need to knock because it's like a knock is almost like, a knock with walking in, I don't necessarily see a problem with that, right. But a knock and waiting or something like that, no. But so a knock I don't think is bad, but I'm coming in regardless,
right?
Yeah,
I'm not disputing that.
Yeah, I'm not saying
if you're going to do the privacy thing and have the line of respect, then
I'm not saying there's a privacy thing. Like you being in your room is you being in your room. You shutting your door. Again, it's not for a sense of privacy. It could be for a sense of you just needing your space, or you maybe wanting some quiet time.
But that's what we're talking about. That's privacy. If a kid wants to be like, okay, there's a boundary that's between a parent and a child. So even though I look at you like a parent, I also want some alone time to explore my own thoughts and ideas and shit like that. You're couching it saying it's private time. It's privacy. It's like I don't want to be around you, or I don't want to talk to you about what I'm thinking. I just kind of maybe want to be on my computer alone in my room with my own thoughts, or listen to some music that you might not indulge in, but I do. Like that's privacy.
Privacy to me implies like keeping something a secret, or keeping something hidden, or keeping something protected.
That's the negative connotation against privacy. That's not what the definition of privacy is. It's not a secret.
Well, it implies you're keeping something protected. It's private. It's protected. It's not for anyone else to know, not for anyone else to be a part of. So that's why I delineate between personal time and private time. Like
say you go in the bathroom. That's privacy. If you shut the door.
That's yes.
So you want some privacy.
You can have some privacy in the bathroom. But in your bedroom.
But I'm just saying you might want some privacy in your bedroom.
And
But
I
it's the
don't agree
same.
with that.
No,
No, like what could you be doing that requires privacy?
a 13-year-old boy could be jerking off. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
That's all I'm saying. Like, it could be anything that they're doing. They could be
do that in
talking
the
to their
middle of the
friend. They
night
could
with-
be doing anything. But I'm not saying like they're doing drugs or just watching something on the computer they shouldn't. They could be doing any. They could be playing the
Okay.
guitar, practicing the
You don't
the
need that. You
guitar.
don't need privacy to do that. You may need personal time, but I don't feel like that's where I'm thinking like there's a difference between, can I have some privacy? Like I don't want you to know that's what privacy kind of implies.
I think you're
to me.
breaching the line, which I felt as a kid was breached, where there's a line between parent and child. And okay, I understand you're the authority figure, but I also have my own thoughts. I'm also growing up myself. I'm also have my own. I'm creating my own personality and ideology. So, and me being in my room and shutting my door, if that's allowed, is to me is privacy. It's like I'm not saying like let me bring a girl up here and shut my door, but if I want to go in my room and be like I don't want to be bothered, or if I just came home from school, allow me that privacy to be in my room with my door shut.
So what is the
Just
difference?
like you would allow me to be in the bathroom with the door shut. You wouldn't come in there and think, oh my God, you're shooting heroin, you're doing something you're not supposed to. Okay, this is just a different room with the door shut.
Well, but I mean, the bathroom, you could be going to the bathroom, so having a door shut there is appropriate. But so if no one's bothering you, right? Let's say your family is downstairs, you're upstairs in your room, you're having a alone time, you're thinking, you're processing your thoughts, you are just being with yourself. What is the requirement to have the door shut if no one's bothering you?
Noise.
Okay, that's
Noise.
fair. That's fair.
You got other siblings in the house, other family members. If somebody is on the phone, like, do you just say you want to be up there for a couple of hours? Like I just came home from school, I want to rest my brain, maybe take a nap,
Right.
Maybe go get a bowl of cereal, come back in my room, and just not be bothered. To me, that's privacy, and some parents don't allow that
because I think the word private implies like
you're not a part of it.
No, it's not so much not a part of, because personal time is personal and I'm not a part of it. But private time implies that you want to do something that's, you want to keep to yourself, or like it's private. And as a child, I just like as a child, I think there's a fine line that needs to be walked where you don't have any privacy. Yes, you can have personal time, and people should respect your personal time, your personal space. But privacy, nah.
To me, it's semantics. I think we're saying the same thing. We just mean we're just saying.
But see, I
different
think
ways.
that's where parents kind of
think
push
there's a
back on
negative
it when you
connotation.
use the term privacy.
Yeah, I don't think there's a negative connotation with privacy, meaning I want to keep some
Something
secret thing
protected.
I'm doing. But in the definition, it is to keep something, to yourself. So whether that be my thoughts or just me, in my room resting,
You can
I
have
should be
private
able to
thoughts.
do
You
that.
can't have private space in my home as a child.
Okay.
Yeah, you can have private thoughts because I can't make
What about
you share
meeting the
your
parents
thoughts.
of their friends? Is that a
I'm
must?
sorry. No, if
Like
it
you
is
knocking
someone,
on doors and asking, "Can I meet moms?" If your friend has you see a new face with your son.
if my child is going to be in that parent's space, so like if they're going to their house, I need to know who it is. If they are like interacting, like if they're
And what's
picking them
that
up.
look
And,
like when you say I need to know who it is? Like, Mom, I'm going over Rick's house, and you've been seeing Rick around your house for the last 8 weeks. Is it like, hold on, we driving over there so I can meet his mom?
Yeah. Well, I want to meet his parents or whomever, and I also want to scope, what's going on around here, because as a parent, I think you have intuition and you can kind of, you can get your own personal opinion. Now that can be deceiving because pedophiles or killers or child abusers or just parents who don't care what their kids do could, they could fool you. So I'm not saying that's 100% safe, but at least there needs to be some interaction. You see my face, I see your face. We have a quick conversation. Hey, this is my son. I know he's been spending time with your son. I just want to make sure that we had each other's contact information, because God forbid something happened and she has no idea who I am. I would want to open that line of communication so that they know who I am. I care about my child. I'm hoping you care about my child too. And I also want to make sure Is it a bunch of people running in and out the house? How safe is the environment? So I would definitely, if it's just,
and you can do all that with a scope.
I mean, you can kind of, so one,
like if you're there for 10 minutes and you see one person or two people come in and out the house, does that mean it ain't safe?
no, it doesn't necessarily mean that, but at the same time, you can kind of, I would hope that I had a relationship. First of all, my child would have to be of a certain age to be going over someone's house without me. Like, I just don't feel safe with people like that. And I would probably have a conversation with my child prior to that time, especially if this is a new friend and they've been developing a relationship, hanging out a lot. You know, what's his situation? Who he lived with? You know, you met his parents, they cool, whatever.
Yeah, what if he did all that shit? It's just the first time you heard him say, I'm going over Rick's house when Rick been hanging at your house.
Well, first of all, you're going to be asking, can I go over Rick's house?
Whatever.
Right. You ain't telling me he going nowhere.
Whatever.
Yeah. But, and I would hope that, and unfortunately, I think that's in a lot of situations, because I would hope that before his friends started hanging at my house, that his parents wanted to do the same thing. But we know that doesn't always happen.
Right. What's the age that you think a kid should have a phone?
See, this is very subjective because I think it depends on the kid. And it, like, I know some parents.
Little girls should have a phone before boys?
No. Not only that, like it determines on it depends on the child, because we know children mature differently. So you could have you know, a 9-year-old that's not extremely mature, because how mature can you really be at 9, but that's more responsible than a 12-year-old. So it really depends on the child and the circumstances. We know there's a lot of latchkey kids and who may be one or just two kids or whatever, and there's a need for you to be able to contact them. That sounds very young, but it's kids out here that's coming home by themselves, 7, 8, 9 years old, and a lot of people don't have house phones anymore. So you need to be able to have that line of communication. But you have some parents who co-parent, and maybe it's not the kind of situation where you can communicate with your child freely through the other parent, so you want them to have a lot of communication when they're away from you. So that's why I said it depends on the circumstance. But I would think,
so if your child came to you, okay, so it depends on the circumstance. So you say, if my child comes to me at 12 and wants a phone and he goofy as a motherfucker, it's no.
Again, if
he a little bit more reserved and serious, you might think
12
about it.
Possibly 12 is like possible. I would say definitely by the time, you know, I would say 13 maybe. 12 is possible, because, and this is the thing too with phones, it's different than when we were younger, you know, having a flip phone. Phones give way too much access to information, you know, porn, you know, just violence, social media things.
But you have parental locks.
You do, but I mean,
the kid don't want the fucking phone once you do it, but
yeah, but
you got parental locks. So you can't say there's no deterrent there, because you can hand a kid an iPhone at 12 that only texts and call.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you can lock the fucking internet, you can lock YouTube, you can lock all that shit.
That is absolutely true.
And the only thing this phone does is text and call. Yeah,
I remember, I'll never forget when my younger sister was in high school. Which in hindsight, you think, God forbid, this is like, if an emergency happens, this isn't a great idea, but she got in trouble for using her phone during the school day, and they was all threatening to take her phone. So my mom used to set the phone up where between 9 and 3 she had no service. Like, so you could, you know.
I remember that.
Yeah, so she, you know, when she would be commuting to school, she could use her phone. When she got out of school, she could use her phone. But between 9 and 3, no service. But you think, again, if it's an emergency, they can't call you or something. But nevertheless, phones give too much access. You are right with parental controls. A lot of parents don't go through the steps of doing that.
No, because they got to argue with their kid and they don't want to do that.
Yeah. Or, I mean, we know,
again, you weigh in on the friend part of the relationship instead of the parent part, where you're doing a parent thing, but you're worried about being a friend.
Yeah, and we know that phones have
you can take I'm not sorry to cut you off. You can take an iPhone 13 and make it so it just texts and call.
Yeah, and you know, you could have it where the the Apple ID, like they don't have the password. But you know what I've found out that kids are slick in doing? Like, you know, social media sites like Instagram, there's an app, Twitter, there's an app. But you can still do the same thing on just going to the website. So even if you never download the app, you just go to www.instagram.com.
But you block the internet.
I mean, yeah, definitely.
So if you
can do
block the
all
internet,
that.
you can't go to shit. So
Yep.
you can't use the internet. The phone only can text me, your dad, your aunt, or anybody, and you only can make phone calls and receive calls.
Yeah.
So them are the only two functions you have. You can't go to the internet. You need the internet to go to YouTube. You can't go to that. You can't go to TikTok. You can't go because you need the internet for that.
Yeah, it's
So you have a plan
world.
where your phone works regardless of the internet, only to text and call.
Yeah, and you know what else I think is important that parents do? And I ain't trying to tell nobody what to do, but if we had children, this would definitely be something that I hope I would be mindful of. Taking the phones away at nighttime. Like
Nighttime, dinner time, yeah.
Specifically.
But at what age does that stop? So your kid comes home from school, he's 10, 5th grade. He's got a phone, so you can communicate with him. He comes home from school, and it's homework time. Obviously, I'm sure you have that in place. But after that, when does phone stop?
I would say whatever bedtime is, probably an hour before that.
Okay.
I don't care how old you are. If you're 16 and your bedtime is 11 o'clock because you have school, and summertime is different, but you have school in the morning, then you can't, your phone, I would want to create an environment where you can't sleep with your phone in your room. Kids be on the phone all darn night, sleep, can't stay awake in school, and it creates a problem. And I don't even know if it's reversible. Like, I'm just so afraid of this generation and what these phones, have created in them.
At what age, girl or boy, if school is 4 blocks away, do you let them walk to school by themselves?
Again, this is very subjective, based on the maturation of the child, because you could have my niece.
Now, see, in this case, I disagree with you because I just feel like whether they're goofy or not, they little people, and they can be stolen and picked up.
Oh, so yeah, I mean,
I feel differently to say, like, I don't give a shit if my 10-year-old is mature as a 15-year-old. You still little, man. You still 60 pounds, and somebody can pick your ass up.
Absolutely.
Your smart ass up and put you in a van.
Absolutely. Well, when I say, there is an age that just should not be allowed, to your point, no matter how mature the child is. My niece is 14, and I don't completely trust her walking to school by herself, and her school is literally 4, maybe 5 blocks away. Like, she could walk. No,
so she catches the school bus.
No,
she's dropped off.
She's dropped off. Yeah,
but if she wanted to walk to school, if she had a group of friends, 4 or 5 girls, would it be okay because she's in the buddy system, or would it be not okay because it's 4 or 5 little girls?
Yeah, I think it would take. I think now it's funny because she's on her way to high school, and I think now she has kind of, reached that point where it's like, okay, I could see her, but I'll say this, at the end of 8th grade, she probably is mature enough to do it. At the beginning of the school year, she absolutely wasn't. And you're right about the age thing, because the youngest, the middle child is 9. She probably could walk everybody to school, make sure you got there safe, hold your hand, make sure nobody ain't get in trouble, pop you in your head if you don't follow the rules, and keep everybody in line. But at 9, that's not something she should be doing by herself, because this world is crazy. And again, she's thinking about being safe and crossing the street and not getting hurt, but she's not thinking about a car riding up and snatching her. Unfortunately, kids today aren't as street smart as we were, because they don't have to be. So their head isn't on a swivel like our head was when we were younger. So it is very subjective, I would say, and I know some parents don't have a choice. I don't think I would allow my kids to go to school by themselves until high school. And then if I had the option, I still would take them.
Right.
They may want to go with their friends, but if I could, like, I know Toya still takes her son. He's going to the 11th grade. Now, of course, he can go to school by himself.
But the ride is a ride.
Yeah, a ride is a ride. Why not take him? Just to know that you're safe, especially in this crazy world.
Okay, so what about sleepovers? This sounds like a weird question to me asking you, because I kind of fucking can feel the answer. But try to compartmentalize for a second. Just do me that for the sake of conversation. Try to compartmentalize sleepovers. with your house and another kid. Say a kid that your son grew up with since kindergarten. They in 6th grade together. They he going to sleep over at his house because his dad going on a camping trip, and they gonna take the boys and
Whose son?
they gonna take the boys out camping.
Whose son? Take
Just
this.
saying.
Like,
Jesus
hi, my name
Christ.
is Natasha. Did you just meet me today? It's like, no, I say this in all honesty. Okay, first let me say
I
this.
said he grew
I
up with the boys
understand.
since kindergarten.
I understand.
They in 6th grade now, so they got time in together.
Listen, I understand, and I was being facetious, but I will say this. First, I want to start with my house, and you probably would be surprised at me saying this. I would not allow, if we had children, I wouldn't allow them to have a sleepover, and this is why. Because I know my husband smokes, and I wouldn't want anybody to feel disrespect. And I know, like, even when our kids are around, you don't smoke in front of them, but you smoke. Like, even if
It's
you're
my house, so I'm gonna smoke in my house.
well, that's what I'm saying. Like, even if
But
you
I'm not
smoke
gonna smoke in front of the kid.
Exactly. But for some parents, they may feel that it is still too close proximity to their kids, and I respect it. Or, that's their choice. Even if my sister felt like, well, even if Jay is in his bedroom smoking and the kids upstairs, like, I don't think, that's a good idea, then I wouldn't bring the kids here. Like, this is my husband's home. So I would have the same kind of mentality for their friends. Like, they, I wouldn't want it to create a problem. Now, unless it was a scenario.
So I'm the problem.
No, it would be unless it was a scenario where the parents, we had a relationship and it was known, like,
He be in here chiefing.
but because I know it would be in a respectful manner. Like, no kid would ever be in your face while you were smoking, but at the same time, I wouldn't want to create a problem. Now, in terms of we had kids, them spending the night somewhere, it would have to be somebody with whom we have developed a relationship and we are very close. Like we know them. Like, it would have to be that sort of situation. Like, again, if I had kids who was the same age as Toya's kids growing up, that's a different situation. Or, our brother, well, your brother, my brother, I was gonna say our brother-in-law, that's my brother-in-law, my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, if we had kids that were their age, so it would have to be a situation like that where, like you said, y'all know each other since y'all were 6 and now y'all in the 6th grade. That's about 6 years of knowing each other. That it's possible that if our families have built that relationship, that
Then they can go.
Yeah, but that would be.
I would always leave that up to you. Like, if it would be like, go ask your mother.
Yeah.
Because, just go ask your mother.
Yeah. and
because if I say yeah, I'm gonna have to deal with it a whole night. Stand up all fucking night. She's gonna be like, what they doing? Like, I don't know. They probably throwing rocks or some shit. No, they not. What they
if
doing?
you say yeah, I would.
Yeah, I made them.
Yeah, you would be driving me to wherever
I made them.
Our kids are to bring them home.
I ain't got no fucking say so. If I said yeah, I can say yes to the kid.
Not spending the night nowhere.
Got the game fucked up. I can say yes to the kid.
And it's crazy. I have never spent a night over a friend's house when I was younger. This might sound really funny. My first sleepover was when I was 18, and listen.
Not a sleepover.
No, it was. So my Gordon Street girls, the girls who I grew up with in North Philly, my friend Mina, she was the first to like move off the block and have her own apartment or whatever. And maybe I was 19, but nevertheless, like, we had a sleepover and, like, it had like little cute socks and Nike-ons, but it was like a girl's sleepover. That was my first sleepover. Like, I had spent the night over one aunt's house. No, that's a lie. I spent the night over a couple, like, family members' houses when I was growing up, but it wasn't like fun times. It was like, okay, this is my boring it was boring. But that was my first, like, fun sleepover. I was 18 or 19.
So what if you know a person like I'm trying to think somebody like Toya, who's not related to you, but you know her and y'all are friends, and trips with friends. Like, our nephew just went to Miami with his friends and hung out. Do you have to be of a certain age, or would you trust your son 13 years old, I'm going with Aunt Toya, and this trip was planned for a while, and she taking the kids down to Disney World.
I would trust Toya to take care of my kids like she would take care of her own. So again, it would depend now.
And now would the out of state thing play into it? Because it's different from they going over to your house for the weekend. Or it's different than, damn, I can get to your house in 30 minutes if I need to. I can't get to fucking Florida in 30 minutes. That's going to take a couple of hours. But does that play different?
Probably not. Probably not. It probably wouldn't, because again, I would trust her to take care of my kids like they were her own. The only thing that would scare me is water. I don't know if Toya know how to swim. And I'm just I know she doesn't like water, but she does know how. No,
the kids get to the water.
She does know how to swim. She doesn't like the water. So I would just have to make sure that my kids were prepared. Don't drown your ass in the pool, because I don't know if Aunt Toya going to be fast enough to jump in. Uncle Daryl might jump in and save you, but no, and again, it depends on. It wouldn't necessarily depend on age per se, but yeah. So that again, that relationship is different. Now you can't be like, Joey done a block, his mom and them is taking him, to North Carolina for the weekend, and can I go?
What do y'all do with privacy with y'all kids out there? Everybody with kids. I know this one here ain't been on her job, so there ain't been a question in the box in a long time, but it's going to be. Like, what y'all do with y'all kids as far as privacy? Do y'all allow phones? What's an age? Do you allow closed doors? Y'all see that stuff in the story. And hopefully have some answers.
Yeah, give us some feedback. Let us know what you think.
I did some research. So at what age do you think kids understand privacy? If you had to guess.
At what age do they understand privacy?
Yeah, that you're invading my space. That you've broken the parent-child boundary line. At what age do you think a kid understands that?
I'm going to say 9.
Studies have been done since 1934, where at 6 years old, you understand that my space is being invaded. I'm being compromised.
So question though, is that physical space or personal space?
Just privacy.
Okay. The only reason why I ask is because it's interesting.
You do that to stuff. You pick everything apart. It's just privacy.
Well, no. The reason why I ask is because I know we were talking about privacy, like going in a room, but when you asked the question, I thought about personal space, and I almost said 6 because it reminded me of our 6-year-old niece, Mackenzie. We were out the other day and I was talking to her. She fell into a little funk about something and she didn't want to talk. And I asked her, did she want a hug? She said no. I said, that's okay. And I was telling her, you don't have to be touched if you don't want to touch. If you don't want to be hugged, you don't want to be held, you don't want somebody to rub your back. It's okay to tell people that you don't want to be touched right now. And then later on, her sister was doing something. She said, stop touching me. I don't want anybody to touch me right now. And so that's why I thought to myself, were you talking about personal space? Because that is important for kids to realize. And I think a lot of parents don't explain that to their kids. Like, you'll walk into a place and they'll say, oh, go give Aunt such and such a hug. Or
you might not want to. I used to have to do that too. Somebody's breath stink, or they just don't smell right. You got to go hug and put your face in their titties.
Or not only do you go into the place and everybody want to hug you. Yeah. And it could create an anxiety with kids. It could create a mentality of an adult and I don't want to go into that direction about pedophilia, but it could create that mindset of, if an adult wants to touch me, even if I don't want them to, because they're an adult, I have to let them to.
It blurs the line between good touch and bad touch.
Right. And you feel like, am I supposed to allow them?
Yeah, it should be black and white, good touch, bad touch. Yeah. But it blurs the line because the kid might feel like, I don't want to be hugged right now, but I'm a kid and I can't say it, I can't express it, but I got to go around and hug 9 fucking people. Exactly. And let them squeeze my cheek and kiss me and all this shit. And it's like, I don't want that.
So 6 years old, that's why. That's
and whether parents want to believe it or not, there is a thing called privacy, and you can invade it. Mine was invaded when I was a kid. You can invade privacy. So at what age do you remember, to your knowledge, do you think that your privacy was invaded for the first time? The first time.
So.
That you felt like, damn, You know, I ain't doing nothing, and you coming in here and invading my shit, in my space.
Well, I don't see. I never really thought about that in a sense of my room because it was just like, yeah, I never thought like that in the sense of my space in my room. Because one, I shared a room with my sisters, 3 of us in a room.
But all of y'all had your own things. But all y'all had your own space within a room. This was Tasha's area. That's Erica's area, and so I'm sure y'all had that as girls.
No, but what I'm saying is I never had my own room. Like, babe, our room wasn't but so big anyway. I didn't have my own room until I was 17. So then it was like, okay, this is my room. Don't just be in here. But it wasn't really directed towards my sisters. It was more so towards my parents. And we didn't have doors. Like, our door in our bedroom growing up, and this wasn't a sense of privacy thing. One time I let my little sister fall down the steps by mistake. And I ran in my room and was like leaning against it so my mom couldn't come in and get me. She was boom, boom, knocking up against the door. She knocked it off the hinges, and we just never had a door. But in a sense of invading privacy, for me, what I remember the first time my mom read my diary.
That's when you felt like, how old were you?
I was 14, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like 14. That for me was like, not only did she read it, I had wrote some stuff, I think I said this before, in Spanish in it, and I was talking about my little boyfriend or whatever. And, of course, talked about having a tumultuous relationship with my mom. She assumed that it was about her. And she wrote me back in my diary. It's like, something about feeling disrespected and don't talk about her. And it was like,
that's some cold ass shit.
Not only did you read it and you don't know what you read, you wrote me back in my diary. Like, how and it was the diary with the little lock. So she
picked it.
Broke it. She didn't pick it because the lock was really attached to a piece of paper on the side. Broke. The lock was still intact.
Broke it off the paper, off the hardback.
So disrespectful. And that I remember feeling like how dare you? Wow. But so in the sense of space though, I never really had that feeling because we didn't have our own space.
I wasn't chopping it up like that. I just meant privacy. Period. It wasn't the first time you felt like, damn, like, this is me and you all over here when you should be over there.
Yeah. No, what I will say too, and this was probably since I always was a phone talker. Like, I started getting phone calls probably 3rd grade, girls and boys. Like, I was allowed to have boys call my house, but my dad, he would sit on the phone and like be upstairs and sit on the phone and like, what's up? Why y'all stop talking? They'd be like, come on, Dad, get off the phone. What you can't talk while I'm on the phone? What was y'all talking about that I can't hear? And it was like, oh my God. And everybody used to like know my dad would do that and thought it was so funny, or like, hey, Mr. They would speak to him or whatever. But it was, so that too, I felt like, all right, get off the, it was more so embarrassing though. Yeah, but that was definitely an invasion of privacy.
Mine was probably, and it probably was me wrong, but I still felt like I was wrong. Like, I still felt like the victim because I was in the streets, I was selling drugs, and I was in and out the house, in and out my mom's house. And I remember, I think I left on like a Friday, came home on like a Sunday. And I remember her calling me and asking me, can I have some money or something? And I remember I had like $600 in my room under the TV on the dresser. And I was like, nah, I don't have it. Like, I see you when I get back. And when I came back, my room was tossed like the police. Like, shoes out the closet, clothes off the hangers on the floor, mattress flipped over, sheets pulled off, TV on the floor, money gone. Gone, like a wrap, gone. And like confronting her was like a big ordeal, and it was just so nonchalant, like, yeah, I had some bills. And I remember being like a bull, like horns growing and steam coming out my nose, like, oh my God, I can't believe this.
That's stealing. Like I can't privacy or not, that's stealing.
But it was the first time, like, my room, and who knows, maybe she breached my room before and looked for shit, but just put it back the way it was. But at that time, it was like, I'm tossing your room to find this money, and I ain't putting it the fuck back. Like, it is what it is.
I had not a similar experience, but an experience like that with money. But you said first time, but I was older, probably 16 or so, and I always had a job since I was 14, and I made good money. Like at 14, I was making $9 an hour. But I always had to save half my check. Like that was the rule. Like, I would get paid. My dad would make me put half in the bank, and I could have half. Okay. And I would, buy whatever I wanted. I always paid to get my own hair done and stuff. Like, that was just my thing. I had $800. And ladies, I don't know if y'all remember, like, the little jewelry boxes where, like, the top would lift up. Then it was, like, 2 little drawers on them. Well, I had took out the bottom drawer and stuffed my money in the back and then put the drawer in it. And I think it had a lock. Yeah, and I'll tell you why I said that. It did have a lock. Well, one day I come home and I go to like pick it up, and it was all cardboard, but when I went to get it, the whole thing like lifted up from the bottom, like the cardboard. So I'm like, what the heck? And my mom had took my money. Now, I hate to say this, like my dad, the horrible person that he still was my protector in some ways, which just sounds crazy. So he made her give me my money back, but it was like, you thought you was going to take my $800 and like that was just going to be okay? Like, no, that's not okay. I don't know why parents felt like they can do that. And maybe like it was a thing like, I know my mom always worked. My dad wasn't any help. So I'm sure she probably needed the money. But at that time as a kid, you kind of feel selfish. Like, it ain't my responsibility to pay no bills here.
Make your ends meet.
Yeah, like I ain't paying bills. I'm paying to get my hair done. I'm buying my own clothes. I'm doing everything for myself except for like bills and rent and stuff. Like, you want to take my money?
I was ready to say that should be an option. Like a kid get a job and they come hand they mom $40, $50. Here, mom, I want to give this to you. I know you working hard. That's you like cry and be like, damn, I raised them right. But you don't go fucking take it.
And that's the thing, my mom
make them
never
give it to you.
asks for money.
You don't be like, yeah, you gonna give me $100 a week. Like, why? I'm fucking 12. I just got my first job. Why I gotta give you $100? Like, the fuck? Are you kidding me? Like, yeah, you gonna help me out around? Like, why? Why do I have to do that? That's crazy. So yeah, that's I was like flabbergasted when that happened. I was
the fact that she like destroyed your room to let you know, like, I've been here. Yeah, like she left her mark
and was like sitting on the couch. I remember when I came in, like, "What's up, ma? How you doing?" And she was like, "Hey," and went upstairs and was like, "What the fuck?" What the fuck happened here? And when the TV was on the floor, I knew like the money was like slid under the TV. And I knew once the TV was off the dresser, like, the money ain't there, it's gone. Like, the fuck? Yeah, that was brutal. That broke my heart. Like, wow. What's the 2 most damaging things a parent can say to a child? Psychologically. Just only 2. I did some more research, too.
The 2 most damaging things that a parent can say to a child is that they don't want them, or I don't know. I don't want to guess because
The first thing is I don't love you.
Okay.
The second thing is you were a mistake.
Yeah, and that's I should have known that because that's like obvious, but I was thinking it was more deeper.
That psychologists say changed the parent-child relationship.
I can imagine. Yeah, I can imagine.
I don't know if it's irrevocable.
It's one of those things.
It changed the relationship instantaneously if a child is told, "I don't love you," and if you're told you're a mistake.
It's one of them things. I think that even if like it's said in an argument and you make up, I don't think, or I think that the sting of those words will always be there, because it's almost like you think to yourself, how can my parent bring their lips to curve to have these words come out. My parent, who's supposed to be the first person after God to love me, how could you say that to me? You know, so that's just my thought. God forbid, I hope that none of you have ever experienced that. And despite all of the issues that I've had with my parents, I've never been told either of those things. So I can't imagine how that would feel. You've been told that?
I told you that my mom said she wished she aborted me.
Well, that's a little different than saying you were a mistake. But
what do you do with mistakes? You abort them. That's what people do. Come on now.
Okay. Yeah,
all right.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
I was trying not to. I was thinking it was different, but you're right. You weren't
kids
a
and
mistake.
privacy. That'll be looking for some comments from y'all. What do y'all do with y'all kids and privacy? How early do they get phones? Do you allow doors to close? Do you really, really respect your kids' privacy if they want alone time? Do you believe in that, or do you raise your kids like you were raised, like our generation of parents did, where it was like you shut that door, you get your ass whooped.
Or the doors get taken off the hinges.
You lock that door, you're gonna get your door taken off the hinges. Like, yeah, that kind of stuff. Or listening to your phone calls. People don't have landlines no more, but so that's probably not feasible.
But I will say, and God forbid, God knows I'm not defending any behavior like that. There is something to that in terms of Lord knows, it's always double standards, but you have young girls out here talking to older guys. So that did kind of allow some level of protection. Now, sometimes my dad would be doing it in jest, just to be funny if he knew that, my friend or something that I was talking to. And sometimes it was to be like, just to get on my nerves. But you think to yourself, there is some small level of protection that did give parents, where nowadays kids can be texting on these apps. They could be messaging or people messaging them. And you really, I do believe that, what do you think about phone checks?
Phone checks for kids? Yeah.
That's something that I definitely think. Random. And don't get me wrong, things can be deleted, but you just randomly snatch that phone and look through it. You never know. But so, I mean,
there's also apps that parents can put on phones that you can't delete shit.
Really?
And you also can contact Apple. So you can contact, especially because a lot of kids' phones is on their parents' on that plan. So if you want to see something that they deleted, you contact Apple.
But I mean, like text messages?
Yeah.
Oh wow,
yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Wow.
And parents can put apps on phones where they look like other apps, but they different underneath. Like I was telling you, like you can get the app for a calendar where it looks like the calendar app, but when you open it, it's pictures. That you hide in there.
Right.
So it's all kinds of apps for shit like that. What have you learned?
So this is something that I learned, that this is not like I'm sorry.
Get it out. Got a lot of dead air.
I was about to say this earlier when we were talking about finances. I've read something, or Toya has sent me something that said, did you know that there are now more people making $250,000 or more that are living paycheck to paycheck? And it just made me think, like, I know the economy is in a bad place right now.
It's not the economy.
Well, just listen. I know the economy is in a bad place right now. But can we really attribute that to the economy? Or can we say that there are people that are living above their means? Because you think to yourselves, making $250,000 a year. Now, I know with more, like Biggie said, more money, more problems. I'm not going to say more money, more problems, but with more money comes more responsibility. So the more you make, the bigger house you're going to want, the bigger car you're going to want. You're going to shop differently. But when you realize that, things are getting a little different now, I need to scale back. Are you not wise enough to do that? Are you not wise enough to say, you know what, I'm going to change some things about my lifestyle to make my money work for me? Because when you think about it realistically, $250,000 is a fair amount of money for a person to live. Now, I know it can be contingent on how many kids you got, but unless you got 10 kids in your house, I'm thinking $250,000 for a family of 4.
It's $250,000
is a nice amount of money. And it just made me think, like, wow, it's not surprising, because I know so many people just want to have that illusion of luxury, but being broke, living paycheck to paycheck. That's
People
sad.
don't do. That's the problem. Is what you just said. Is they don't do everything different. They do some things different, and you just hit the nail on the head. For me, they shop different because I make a different amount of money. I want a bigger car because I make a different amount of money. I have a bigger house, but to obtain all that stuff, just like you shop different and shop for cars different and shop for houses different, you should pay bills different. You should save different. That's what you should do. Save a different number. Save in a different disciplined way. Pay bills different, whether it be months at a time when you're making that kind of money. Like, you shouldn't be behind when you're making $250,000.
Yeah.
Like, you just shouldn't be. I don't give a shit if milk's $6 a gallon or bread $5 a loaf. You shouldn't be behind if you're making $250,000. And I know it's subjective to people's lifestyles, but that's exactly what we're talking about.
Right.
People's lifestyles.
Right. Because you should be able to live comfortably. But that was something that I learned, that people making $250,000 are increasingly growing into that number of people living paycheck to paychecks.
I learned a joke, so mine ain't that serious.
Oh, I like a joke.
What do you call a blind dinosaur?
A blind dinosaur, a Isaurus.
Or do you think you saw us?
Do you think you saw us?
Or do you think you saw us?
Okay. That tickled your fancy.
Or do you think you saw us? Whew, you can use that on your paisans.
Okay.
Y'all can use that too. What do you call a blind dinosaur? Or do you think you saw us? I also learned that I was reading the federal child labor laws.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that an infant can only work from 0 to 6 months, can only work 2 hours a day?
Not specifically, no. I know that there were child labor laws, which is why a lot of times, if babies or kids are in movies and stuff, like
that's what blew my mind. When I was reading it, I was like, why the fuck is 0 to 6 months up here?
Yeah.
And of all people, Eddie was like, yo, when you see kids, I mean, when
Mary
you see
Kate and
like
Ashley.
a baby in movies, it's probably 6 babies.
Because well, a lot of times it's twins.
Because it's not the same baby all the time. Because obviously, an infant to 6 months only can work 2 hours a day. And if you're shooting a film and you're shooting 14 hours and shooting a scene over and over, you got to switch babies.
Yeah, so you said 0 to 6 months. So I would be interested to know, what is it for like 6, like it changes because...
By the hour, it only went up from 2 to 3 to 4.
Okay, so that's why Mary Kate and Ashley, when they were younger, you know, it was... They were twins, but it was only one little girl in the show, but they would switch because you could only work a certain number of hours as a kid.
It was weird stuff on there. If you're 14 to 16, you can only work 24 hours a week.
Yeah, during school hours.
Yeah.
During the school year.
It's different in the summertime, but you can only work 24 hours a week. When you're 16 and 17, you can work 40 hours a week, and you can refuse any kind of work asked for over 44 hours if you're 16 or 17. They can't make you, put in a bunch of overtime. 4 hours and that's it. You could say, fuck no, I'm 16. Y'all can't make me do that.
Well, because you figure where the heck, I mean, unless you're talking about like on a weekend, where the heck is a kid going to fit that in? There's also with that age range, they can't work after a certain time. It might be 10 o'clock or 8 o'clock.
I think it was 5. It's 10.
10, okay, yeah.
10 p.m. Yeah. And on the weekends, it's 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's midnight.
I knew that from when our nephew was working. Yeah.
So. I never seen that because I didn't think that 0 to 6 months would be on there. I'm looking like, why the fuck is babies on there? Like, are they making... I started thinking about farms. And, like, for real, I started thinking about, like picking strawberries and stuff.
Right.
And blueberries. And I'm like, I know they don't have fucking babies. And Eddie was like, bro... babies in movies, and I was like, oh, like babies in movies, right? Yeah, all right, cool.
Yes, I think that. Well, I mean, that's the only job they had. What other jobs do baby have other than the actor? Well, yeah, I mean, like actor or actress, yeah.
Yeah, I learned that. 3 grams. Deshaun Watson got his 24th accusation from a massage therapist. He ejaculated on her hand.
So, okay, so I think when we talked about this before,
It was his 23rd. He had 22 accusations. 2 more came out since then. So I think that was probably 8, 9, 10 episodes ago when we talked about that in the Grams. But yesterday, another one came out. This was the 24th, and the season about to start. He still got the guaranteed contract of $240-something million. He might be, well, the league said he's probably going to be suspended for the whole year. But he had a massage therapist come in. She came out and said she was rubbing. He was about to get a massage. She gave him a big towel. He asked for a little towel. She was rubbing. He got mad because she wouldn't go up on the inner thigh. Went up on the inner thigh. He got an erection. She turned him over on his side, started rubbing his hip. He started masturbating, turned over, and came on her hand.
So, okay, this hasn't happened since the charges came out. This is just someone who has come forth since the charge. Because I was about to say, who's still accepting him as a client? Like, why are you still showing up?
No.
Now, have charges been filed, or this is just the 24th accusation? Are there actually because before I thought it was
24th accusation.
So again, here we go, and I'm not in any way, shape, or form implying that these women aren't telling the truth. But the only way that we can stop these sexual predators from doing the things that they're doing is to have them locked away. Suing isn't going to help. Suing isn't going to stop. It's going to impact his money, of course, but if he don't have a record as a sexual predator, guess what? He can get another job somewhere else. He can make some money somewhere else, and he can continue to do this. God forbid he ends up raping a woman or something. Like, so this mentality of putting a price on your pussy is crazy to me. Like,
watch your mouth.
For somebody to be able to offend you or to inappropriately have an interaction with you, and it's like, this is how much this costs for me. I just don't get it. Pressure, and then at what time? When does I guess I don't know. When does the law get involved? Can they say that they're going to charge him?
The Houston Texans gave him a room in the facility for massage therapy that he used every day. They said the time he was there, which was 4 or 5 years, he might have got, I don't want to lie, maybe over 200 massages in that room. So who knows how many times this happened. I'm just talking about the severity and the number. When we start talking about Bill Cosby and 40 women saying you did drug them and raped them, okay, we talking about 24 women with graphic ass shit like you came on their hand? Like like how does that?
I mean, it doesn't compare to being raped, but it's definitely completely disrespectful. It's completely disrespectful. It's a true violation. I'm not in any way trying to minimize it. It is a huge violation. That's horrible, especially for a woman. And again, I'm not saying that nobody deserved to do that if you weren't there for some sexual interaction.
Dudes out there, it really is.
But especially if in your mind, like, you absolutely, it wasn't anything. You just wanted to do your job.
See, if you was a massage therapist and this happened to you, I don't think you'd ever go outside again. Like, if you came home and said, or if you was excited, like, babe, Deshaun Watson, yeah, like I'm about to go massage. I'd be like, babe, good, like, do a good job. And you come home with the cops. Like, this motherfucker came on me. Mm-hmm. Like, how does that even happen?
Yeah, that's sad.
I don't know. Second gram, we ain't got to touch on this long. The Monique and DL situation. I know we talked about it last week, but shit got deeper.
Again?
Yeah, I don't know if we talked about this last week, but she attacked his daughter and said that DL obviously had a friend who tried to molest his oldest daughter 25, 30 years ago. He was drunk or something. And he didn't, but he came on to his oldest daughter or something to that effect. And he apologized, and he is still DL's friend to this day. And she attacked his daughter saying, you let a pedophile touch your daughter and you still friends with him to this day. Like,
Well,
what's
that's not
wrong?
attacking his daughter. That's attacking him.
But she's making his daughter relive the trauma, and she had something to say. His daughter bounced back and was like, you attacking me and making me relive stuff that I went through when I'm healed and all this shit. Like,
I think
you claim you love black women and you love all these young black women. Well, I'm younger than you. Like, why are you doing this to me because of a lineup situation you got with my dad?
I think using the word attacking is misplaced. I think that's the wrong word, because she's attacking him, but she's using the case and re-victimizing the daughter because of what you said. Yes, making her relive that trauma, but I don't think she's not attacking her.
Okay,
and
I can see
Monique
that.
probably and her, I'm not trying to defend her at all. In her mind, she's probably thinking you shouldn't be friends with him because he did this to your daughter, but without really realizing, maybe I shouldn't bring this up because of the impact it may have on the daughter. Like that situation, I mean, if anything, send him a text, if you want to come at him with that, but don't make it public information, because again, now it just, that's like the kids say, that's a bad joint. Yeah, that's a bad joint.
That's what they say?
Yeah, that's what they say. That's a bad joint.
Last gram, the South Street shooting. This is a place that me and my baby frequent. Not to tell y'all where we be, because we won't be there. So y'all can come down there all y'all want. We won't see us. But we used to hang out down there a lot. Like, it was our weekend spot. We love the sushi down there. We like to just walk the blocks, park, and just walk and hang out and watch and people watch. We used to sit in the street at the seats and eat. And to know that it was a mass shooting down there and 3 people were dead and 15 people shot, that's enough for me. It's enough for me. And again, born and raised in Philly, I know how crazy it is, but I've been down South Street hundreds of times and never encountered anything like this. Like fights, yeah. Whole bunch of cops, yeah. But not mass shootings where it's dead people on the street. And I don't know if it was, I know it wasn't like a random guy just shooting people. It was like a fight that broke out.
And then people start shooting,
Yeah, and then he come to find out, these 2 people that had guns that was fighting each other.
It was legal.
They both had permits.
Yep, they were legal guns. Well, so this is the thing. Like you said, I never did I didn't hang out with my friends. I wasn't allowed when I was younger. So I never did the whole South Street hanging out thing when I was younger. I probably, before us, had been to South Street, like I can count on one hand. And I used to go down there to get my hair braided. But like the whole hanging out thing. So when we would go, it wasn't like trying to be young. Like we would go eat. We would go in the middle of the day. Mm-hmm. Then, if we would go on the evening time, date night, have dinner. I remember one of the last times.
And we enjoyed other parts of South Street, the higher parts also.
Yeah, from like 18th Street down.
Yeah, we wasn't always where everybody be. We just enjoyed South Street.
And I remember I don't know if it was the last time or almost the last time we went, the crowd was crazy. And it was a little uncomfortable. And it just makes me think like, yeah, I could never be down there again and experience that kind of crowd. The fight situation that had, the crazy thing, the guy who was the aggressor in the video who pulled out his gun first was one of the people that ended up dead. Mm-hmm. But like you said, they both had legal guns, fighting, shooting at each other, and
heard the guy that got his ass beat killed the guy that beat him up.
Yeah.
And then while he was killing the guy that beat him up, he shot somebody, an innocent person.
And it's one of his friends or something. And it was also a gentleman, I don't know his name, but I saw some posts like he was known to be a boxer trainer in the city for like little boys. And people were saying, he was really good with little kids. So, condolences to all of the families that that suffered losses. And those people that were even shot, being traumatized like that, being out having what you think is having a good time,
being trampled, like just whether you out there just chilling with your girls or your dudes, and then all of a sudden shots ring out. That shit is real. Like, I don't know. I come up in that, and I've been in situations where I shouldn't be here no more. And when bullets are flying, it's a different fucking ball game. It's a different ball game. And some people out there ain't never experienced that. Not that you should, but when bullets start flying, it's a different ball game. And you're right, it traumatizes you. If you hear loud sounds and shit, it traumatizes you. It takes you right back to, I remember when it was bullets flying over my head or just the sound of gunshots.
Can I tell you something? I felt a little bit embarrassed to that Philly was on the national news for that. Like that it's a sad situation.
Yeah.
It's like CNN, really? Like y'all made CNN for this foolishness.
And labeled as a mass shooting. Like that's Chris right up there with the stuff that they talking about. That's a problem. Like that's not cool.
Yeah.
That's it. Act 2 the Podcast, episode 74. Catch us act2thepodcast.com, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Radio Public, TikTok, Breaker. On all those platforms. Mainly, you should go to act2.com, act2thepodcast.com.
www.act2thepodcast.com.
www.act2thepodcast.com.
Act2thepodcast.com.
That's where you should go. You should go there and visit there. Lots of good stuff. All the content's there.
And you know what I want to say? I know y'all were asking before, and just know we may have fallen back, but we will never fall off. The merch is still coming. Stick with us. We promise we're going to have some good stuff, so stay tuned.
You should just blame this one right here because she should be on her fucking job and putting it out there. You're gonna start to see things change, and she gonna be behind the changes. So she getting put on the spot now, but when you see shit change and when you see shit for the better, she gets the credit for it. So that's how that's gonna work. So y'all know when to see you like, oh man, this is cool. This is nice right here. It's the co-hostess with the mostest. But when you say damn, it's the co-hostess with the mostest. So, Act 2 the Podcast. If you fuck with us, you fuck with us. If you don't, you should. Peace.